The Advanced Xenobiology Lab at the Galactic Institute of Higher Learning was supposed to be one of the safest facilities in known space. Triple redundant safety systems, gravitational dampeners, and medical bays every 50 meters. Professor Zilton had taught here for 40 cycles without a single serious incident. Then humans arrived. Jake Morrison was the first human admitted to the Institute's doctoral program in comparative physiology. He'd spent 6 months proving he could keep up with species that had been studying advanced sciences since before Earth had discovered agriculture. Now he stood at his workstation alongside 3 other students, dissecting the preserved remains of a Calvorian sandcrawler, a 6-legged arthropod the size of a small car. His lab partners were typical of the Institute's diversity. Shirala, a crystalline Luxon whose body literally refracted light when she was nervous. Plex, a Vrundian whose gaseous form was contained in a sophisticated environmental suit. And Korth, a Threnian who looked like someone had crossed a mantis with a scholar, all chitinous plates and multiple manipulator limbs. The exoskeleton shows remarkable stress adaptation, Jake said, carefully using the plasma scalpel to separate a section of carapace. See how the molecular structure shifts here. That's how they survived the pressure changes in Calvorian sandstorms. Shirala's crystalline structure pulsed with interest. Fascinating. Can you get a sample of the underlying tissue? I want to run a cellular analysis. Jake nodded and adjusted his grip on the scalpel, angling it to cut through a particularly dense section of the preserved specimen. The tool was designed to slice through almost anything, which was exactly the problem when your hand slipped. The plasma scalpel carved through the sandcrawler's armor and kept going, slicing a deep gash across Jake's left forearm. Blood, bright red human blood, welled up immediately, spilling across the examination table and mixing with the preservation fluid. Shirala's entire body went white with shock. Plex's environmental suit alarm began shrieking. Korth dropped all 4 of his data pads, his mandibles clicking in distress. Medical emergency, the automated system blared. Catastrophic injury detected in Sector 7B, initiating emergency protocols. Jake looked down at his arm, then at his panicking lab partners, then back at his arm. The cut was deep, maybe 4 inches long and bleeding steadily. It hurt, sure, but he'd had worse playing rugby in university. Oh, relax, Jake said, applying pressure with his other hand. It's just a cut. Can someone hand me a bandage? Shirala's voice came out as a crystalline chime of pure horror. Just a cut. Jake, you're hemorrhaging. Your circulatory fluid is escaping your body. You need immediate medical intervention. Emergency medical team is en route, Korth said, his translator stuttering with stress. Please sit down before you lose consciousness. Your species can't survive significant fluid loss. Jake blinked at them. Guys, I'm fine. Seriously, it looks worse than it is. Human bodies are pretty good at dealing with this kind of thing. He glanced at the wound again. Okay, yeah, it's bleeding a lot. Someone got a towel or something? Plex's gaseous form was swirling frantically in his suit. How are you even conscious? The pain signals alone should have triggered neurological shock. It stings a bit, Jake admitted, wrapping part of his lab coat around the wound. But pain is just your body telling you something's wrong. I already know it's wrong, I cut myself. No point in freaking out about it. The emergency medical team burst through the door, 3 Calvorian doctors with enough equipment to perform field surgery. They saw Jake standing calmly at his workstation, one arm wrapped in cloth, still bleeding, and very much not dying. The lead doctor, a being named Velvats, approached cautiously with a scanner. Human Morrison, I need you to lie down immediately. You've suffered a severe laceration and are experiencing blood loss. It's like maybe 3 inches deep, Jake protested as they guided him to a medical hover gurney that had materialized from the wall. I've seen worse at construction sites back home. Just clean it, stitch it up, and I can get back to work. Velvats's scanner beeped incredulously. Your pain tolerance readings are, this can't be right. You should be experiencing agony. The nerve density in human extremities is considerable. Jake shrugged with his good arm. I mean, yeah, it hurts. But humans have this thing called endorphins. Natural painkillers. Plus, you know, evolution. Our ancestors had to keep functioning after injuries or they'd get eaten by whatever wounded them in the first place. The medical team worked in silent efficiency, cleaning and sealing the wound with regenerative gel that would have the cut healed in days. The other students and Professor Zilton had gathered around, watching in morbid fascination as Jake chatted amiably with the doctors. Your medical file indicates this is not your first significant injury, Velvet's noted, reviewing the data. Broken ribs, fractured arm, concussion, second-degree burns. Rugby, skateboarding accident, rock climbing, and I touched a hot pan like an idiot, Jake explained cheerfully. Humans are kind of accident-prone. We do a lot of physical activities that can go wrong. Voluntarily. Shirala's voice was faint with disbelief. Oh yeah. Sports, extreme activities, adventure tourism, it's pretty common. Getting hurt is just part of being human, I guess. You learn to deal with it. Korth's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Your species actively engages in dangerous recreational activities? Despite knowing injury is likely? Well, yeah. It's fun. Jake grinned. Plus, human bodies are pretty resilient. We heal fast, can function through a lot of pain, and our medical technology is getting better all the time. A cut like this? Back on Earth, I'd probably just superglue it shut and call it a day. Superglue. The entire medical team chorused in horror. It's a thing, Jake assured them. Cyanoacrylate adhesive. Actually was used in the Vietnam War for emergency wound closure. Works pretty well in a pinch. Professor Zilton, who had been observing silently, finally spoke. Human Morrison, I believe we need to revise the safety protocols for your species. It appears our definition of catastrophic injury and your definition are significantly different. Jake looked down at his freshly sealed wound. I mean, catastrophic would be losing the arm. Or maybe arterial bleeding. This was just, you know, a decent scratch. A decent scratch that went through 3 layers of tissue, Velvet's muttered, finishing the bandaging. You'll need to avoid strenuous activity for 48 hours while the regenerative gel works. Can I still finish the dissection? No. Every non-human in the room shouted simultaneously. Jake held up his hands in surrender. Okay. I'll take it easy. He hopped off the gurney, testing his arm's range of motion. Thanks for the patch job, document really appreciate it. As the medical team packed up their equipment, still muttering about human pain tolerance and recklessness, Shirala approached Jake carefully. How do you do it? She asked softly. Remain so calm when your body is damaged? Jake considered the question. I guess, humans learn early that our bodies can take a beating. We're built for endurance, not perfection. Kids fall off bikes, athletes get injured, workers have accidents. It's just part of life. You learn that most injuries aren't fatal, that pain is temporary, and that freaking out usually makes things worse. He gestured at his bandaged arm. This'll heal. In a week, it'll be a scar. In a month, I'll barely remember it happened. That's just how human bodies work, we're designed to take damage and keep going. It's how we survived long enough to reach the stars. Plexa's form swirled with something that might have been admiration. Your species is either incredibly brave or incredibly insane. Jake laughed. Why not both? Professor Zilton made a note on his datapad. I'm adding a new section to the safety orientation, human injury response and why it will disturb you. This cannot happen again without proper preparation for the other students. Fair enough, Jake agreed. Though in my defense, if you guys didn't make your preserved specimens so interesting, I wouldn't have been so eager to cut into them. Despite themselves, his lab partners chittered with amusement. As they cleaned up the workspace, carefully avoiding any sharp implements near Jake, they couldn't help but marvel at the human who treated a serious laceration like a minor inconvenience. Later, in the student commons, word spread quickly. The human had been injured, bled profusely, and asked for a bandage like someone requesting a napkin. Soon, Jake Morrison became something of a legend, not for his academic achievements, but for his species' terrifying durability. And in medical facilities across the institute, they updated their emergency protocols with a new designation: human injury, severity subjective. Consult patient before panicking.